So NEO reported their first quarter earnings for 2023. So let's break down the results. So when it comes to vehicle sales, they were down 0.2% from the first quarter of last year, and a decrease of roughly 38% from the fourth quarter of 2022. Vehicle margins, 5.1% first quarter, compared to 18.1% in the first quarter of 2022, and 6.8% in the fourth quarter of 2022. So vehicle sales and vehicle margins both down. Gross profits represented a decrease of almost 90% from the first quarter of 2022, and a decrease of 74% from the fourth quarter of 2022. Gross margins 1.5% in the first quarter, compared to 14.6% in the first quarter a year ago, and 3.49% in the fourth quarter of 2022. Again, all downward trends. Net loss, this was an increase of 166% from the first quarter a year ago, and a decrease of 18% from the fourth quarter of 2022. All right, to kind of sum up some of their numbers, again, all in the negatives, quarter for quarter, and some of it year over year. Deliveries, NEO delivered 6,658 vehicles in April and 6,155 vehicles in May. Now, these are comments from the CEO and CFO. NEO delivered 31,000 vehicles in the first quarter of 2023, ranking first in the premium battery EV market, priced over 400,000 RMB for 12 consecutive quarters. Okay, that's good. Total revenue, that represented an increase of 7.8% from the first quarter of 2022. Okay, that's good. And a decrease of 33.5% from the fourth quarter of 2022. So in this aspect, they are growing, but growing less relative to the fourth quarter of last year. Now, they do have a significant amount of cash on hand, which is good, right, to fund that growth. Deliveries, again, the outlook for second quarter of this year between 23 and 25,000, but that represents a decrease of roughly 8.2% to 0.2% from the same quarter a year ago. Total revenues, they're expecting 1.2 million, between 1.2 million and 1.3 million, again representing a decrease in approximately 15.1% to 9% from the same quarter 2022. All right, so to sum it up, they are growing, but at a slower pace. And let's get into why. All right, so this article is coming from Investors Business Daily. New earnings, EV maker reports mixed Q1, but guides higher for June deliveries. So the quarter was mixed, and guided to another big drop in EV deliveries in the second quarter. NEO is starting to roll out second generation versions of its most popular EV SUV. What the analysts are expecting, they expect their losses to widen to 38 cents from 12 cents a share a year ago. Again, they're growing, but not as fast due to, we'll see in this report later on. Revenue is rising 13%, but it would be the weakest in years. Second quarter revenue, again 1.2 billion, to 1.36 billion. That's down 9 to 15% from a year ago. Again, we discussed the deliveries. NIO sees their ES6 sales alone hitting 10,000 units in July. It still expects over a monthly deliveries topping 20,000 at the same point in the second half, though it may have to push back its profitability target from late 2023. All right, that's key too. NIO was once dubbed the Tesla of China due to the quality of luxury of its cars. It's now struggling with both weakened demand for its sedans. But more new models continue to hit the crowded Chinese EV SUV market, with 20 debuting in April alone. All right, so let's go to the charts of NIO, and let's kind of put this puzzle together. Overall, really nothing to get excited. You can see we did have a pop-up on earnings just to close the gap to then close red for the day. All right, so this is pretty bearish. Inverse hammer candle. Price is still basing, but I think there's price action is biased to the downside. Price closed on Friday at $7.73. However, again, based on the fundamentals and the technicals, all your moving averages are still pointing downward. I think price is going to go lower, eventually breaking out of the sideways price action that's occurred for the last 2 months. Now let's zoom out to the weekly chart. Again, moving averages are still pointing downward. Now I was going to short NIO prior to earnings through the option markets, but there's not a lot of reward. There might be another dollar to downside risk, and that's not enough for me. What I am anticipating is price bottoming at $6. Now we may go lower than that, which is okay. What I'm expecting is sort of a W pattern accumulation phase taking place over the next year or so. So you have plenty of time, if you believe in NIO longer term, to get in. We have to see this bottom out pattern occur. All right. What I'm looking for is a bottom out pattern very similar to what we had back in 2019, 2020. Very similar. Before price eventually based before breaking out of the apex. So that's what I'm kind of looking for over the next 12 months. So you have plenty of time to go long. You can dollar cost average now, but I think you'll be able to get in at a cheaper price. Again, there's a lot more competition. We're still dealing with the China reopening. In the U.S., economy is still strong, but it could weaken a bit more as interest rates trickle down through the economy. I do think that there will be room for many of these EV makers market share, but right now, if you wanted to get into NIO, look to get in at a lower price, as the fundamentals, specifically the earnings, are not telling us to buy at this time. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Please like the video.